let's go ahead and get our first presenter on stage. It is DJ LeClear, who is a radiation expert, and then he's going to come on and dispel some common misconceptions about radiation, maybe in medical research and space research and agriculture. With that, let's get DJ on stage.
All right, can everybody hear me? So happy to be here. I'm used to being in seats that you all are in, watching presentations and stuff here. Not used to being on the stage myself at the Majestic, but this is really exciting for me. I think the last time I was here, I was watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Hopefully this is going to be, or maybe not hopefully, this is going to be a little different than the Rocky Horror Picture Show. So as I was presented, or introduced here, I have a lot of experience in radiation and nuclear power, nuclear technology. So obviously my presentation is going to be about nuclear and nuclear technology. Sorry, slides there we go. And I want to get into some of those myths around nuclear. I'm sure that all of you are kind of thinking about some of your conceptions about nuclear technology. And I want to kind of maybe debunk those myths a little bit, but really I want to get into the magic around nuclear. Because yes, I think that nuclear is magic. So I want you to think in your head, what is the first thing you think of when you think of the word nuclear? And instead of calling anybody out here to tell me what you think, I decided to ask AI to kind of give me what its first thoughts are about nuclear, its first two images that it can think of when it thinks of the word nuclear, because I think that's a good consensus on what people think of for nuclear. And what it gave me was these two images here. First, we have this kind of dystopian landscape here, no growth around, and that's actually a coal plant for some reason. That's not even a nuclear plant. And so kind of dystopian, but also nuclear mushroom cloud, obviously, and this kind of post-apocalyptic world here. And you can see also some more coal plants in the background. I'm not sure why everyone's thinking about coal plants when it's nuclear. But I want to go ahead, or also, the reason why people kind of have these thoughts about nuclear, I think, is really in pop culture. We get it from our cartoons, we get it from our superheroes, we get it from these mini-series on HBO, and we also get it from media, actually. And this right here, some people might be familiar with this. A lot of news agencies use this photo here when they're talking about the Fukushima nuclear plant meltdown. This isn't even Fukushima. This is an oil refinery. But because Fukushima didn't have all of those disastrous-looking images, they used this one to really paint a picture of devastation.
Right.
So let's go ahead and debunk some of these myths really quick. First off, a nuclear plant cannot explode like a nuclear bomb. You're not going to get a mushroom cloud. Just we'll take that off the table. But I think a lot of people think that nuclear is this really dirty source of energy and it's unsafe, but the reality is it's actually amongst the safest and the cleanest source of energies, especially when you're talking about greenhouse gases. It's right there with renewables. But the reality, it's not just about carbon emissions, it's also about other aspects that have harmed the environment, such as taking up a lot of space. Nuclear power happens to take up a lot less space than any other source of energy out there by a long shot, which is really important because if you're taking up a lot of space, you're taking up space that could be reserved for the environment. Additionally, it uses way less sources than any other source of clean energy. And resources need to be mined. Mining is harmful on the environment. So nuclear power, using a lot less resources, is a lot more environmentally friendly. And I wanted to mention really quick on this one here is the fact that AI is really ramping up, which really ramps up our need for energy. And the DOE is even saying that we're going to need to triple our need for nuclear in the next couple decades because it's super clean and it is a 24/7 source of energy. But let's go ahead and get beyond the myth about how nuclear power is way more than the myth. To me, it's sort of this kind of magical source of energy. We take this raw material, it's basically dirt out of the ground, we refine it, we enrich it, and then we create these fuel pellets here. This right here is a tiny fuel pellet. This right here is worth about a ton of coal when it comes to energy. All in this little tiny 10-gram pellet that I 3D printed. It's not actually a real one. But anyways, we take these pellets, and I like to think of them as kind of rocks or hot rocks, and we arrange them in just the right configuration and produce a ton of energy. It's kind of like we're wizards arranging these rocks and just adding some water and then producing electricity. It's really quite magical. But not only are we wizards, we're also alchemists, modern nuclear alchemists. And one of the things that we can do, and what's actually done in nuclear fission, is we bombard uranium with neutrons. That uranium splits, releases a lot of energy, but it turns into something extremely valuable, like an alchemist taking lead, turning it into gold, something not very valuable, like dirt, turning it into something really valuable. And those two new elements, or those two new products that are produced, can then be further processed and turned into things like nuclear batteries that can last for decades, or nuclear medicine. In fact, my employer, Shine Technologies, we are actually producing a facility to do exactly this, but instead of using neutrons from fission, we're actually using neutrons from fusion to induce fission, produce new isotopes such as molybdenum-99, which is the workhorse of nuclear medicine, used to diagnose diseases. So we're diagnosing diseases with something that used to be dirt, basically. Not only are we doing that, or we're working towards that, right now we're building a facility, or we actually are operating a facility right now that takes a element or an isotope that doesn't have too much value. We're bombarding it with neutrons in a reactor, and then we're producing a thing called lutetium-177, or Luthera is what we call it at Shine Technologies. And what we're able to do with lutetium-177, we mix it with some other molecules, and then now it's this targeted nuclear medicine that seeks out cancer and destroys it. So we're using this modern nuclear alchemy to cure cancer. So not only are we nuclear alchemists, we're also time travelers. And when I was told that the theme was going to be agriculture, this is the first thing that kind of popped up in my head, and how we're these time travelers and we're able to use nuclear technology to do so. And the agriculturalists, they are able to produce new varieties of produce over decades or hundreds or even thousands of years of taking advantage of these very slow mutations that nature introduces to this produce. And what we're able to do is a thing called gamma gardening. It was done more in the past, but we still see the effects today. We're irradiating seeds and irradiating plants to produce new varieties, and we're basically able to ramp up those mutations that were already happening and put them into these time machines, and we're able to produce all sorts of new varieties that are more friendly to the environment, take less water, take up less space, save a lot of money. And you have things like the Rio Red grapefruit, which is a popular grapefruit out there that was produced because of this. Now, we also have this other time machine that can slow things down. And what we do is we take produce that would usually go bad in just a few days, and we're able to put it into the time machine, kills the bad bacteria, and still is as nutritious as it was before, but now has a much longer shelf life, saving money, or also being a lot safer. We're also space travelers. We take this magical rock called plutonium-238, which it doesn't need other plutonium-238 to create the magic. It glows all on its own like this magical rock. And we're able to put it into these space probes and travel beyond our solar system and explore the outer reaches of our solar system. Additionally, we're able to put it on rovers, and on these rovers, we can explore other planets like Mars. And then, if we're going to make it to Mars, we're going to need nuclear power in order to make it there. Additionally, nuclear is more than a myth, it is magic.